Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
According to the Labor Department, another 5.2 million Americans filed for first-time unemployment benefits last week. It's another sign of the devastating economic toll the pandemic has had on the U.S. economy. In the past 3 weeks, almost 17 million Americans applied for benefits, bringing the total now to at least 22 million.
What?
President Trump later today out with a plan for reopening some parts of the U.S. economy. Once again, another 5.2 million people have filed for first-time unemployment applications this week.
Yeah, 22 million people in a month have applied for unemployment. By the end of this month, so we've got 2 more weeks. Even if it goes down 1 million each time, that'll be another about 9 million. We'll be over 30 million people on unemployment. Are you feeling that? Somebody soaking that in? The devastating toll on parts of healthcare and people's health across the country on the physical side, as well as the financial side of this, is frightening. It is absolutely frightening. And guess what? It is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Trump's going to talk about reopening. Here we go. This is what we're going to do. We're going to reopen everything. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, this isn't a light switch. It may not even be a dimmer. For some parts of the economy, this is going to take 5 years to dig out of, if not longer. Other parts will dig out faster. But the reality is, this has been a game changer that 8 weeks ago, I doubt anybody would have believed. And the question is, where are we going with it?
Every politician, myself included sometimes, is just dancing around the issue. The American people get it.
What? We
got to reopen, and when we do, the coronavirus is going to spread faster, and we got to be ready.
And that's the thing that everybody, every politician I talk to, grapples with that. Oh, what do we do? How do we go there? What happens if? Do we run back in? You can't. The damage is being done. I think a lot of politicians felt like we could hide from it long enough to ramp up our healthcare system that it wouldn't be as bad. But now that we look around and we're starting to see the devastation on our economy as well as what's taken place in certain parts of the country. Let's be real. New York, awful. Nebraska, Utah, California even though California, the numbers are starting to grow a little bit. The reality is they've got about 30,000 people that have tested positive for this. They've got very few deaths based on the population. They have 40 million people in California. They're the 5th largest economy in the globe, not in our country, in the world. But something has to give, and we're going to have to make a real choice, a very real choice about what we do in the coming weeks and how we're willing to face this thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. And that's the question that's on everybody's mind, is how are we going to face this thing? And when we face it, do we have an understanding of what we're going to get ourselves into? Meaning, all right, we go out, we do it, we recognize that there is a risk, we recognize there is a more than a real potential, but a real spike in certain numbers in certain places that is going to happen. But as individuals who have freedoms guaranteed by our Constitution, we're going to have to ask ourselves, are we mature enough, and I think we are, to make a decision for ourselves based on the numbers and the data that we're seeing? Hey, I've got to do what's right for my family, my livelihood, my day-to-day living. I'm willing to accept that risk, because if we don't, I think the road back is going to be much harder than a lot of experts think and a lot of people who think, oh, it's just going to be a snap of the fingers and within 6 months we're going to be back to normal.
The American people are not morons. Very, very soon, the can's going to run out of road. We got to open this economy. If we don't, it's going to collapse. And if the U.S. economy collapses, the world economy collapses. And trying to burn down the village to save it is foolish. That's a cold, hard truth.
John Kennedy's right there. Trying to burn down the village to save it. And if we're going to do something, we're going to have to go full throttle into it. Full throttle. There's an old story of people who came, soldiers, who faced essentially insurmountable odds. They came by boat back in the day. And when they got on land, the leader ordered all of the ships that they came on to be burnt. So there was nowhere for them to go. They had one path only, and that was forward. They couldn't go backwards now. It was forward. There was no retreat. It was forward. I think governors and leaders across the country are going to face the fact that this thing isn't going anywhere. We're just hiding from it. We'll find probably in the next, I'm still thinking within the next 30 days, some form of treatment that will bring even these numbers down as far as the survival rate, much lower than they currently are now. And we don't even know what the real data looks like. But we're also going to have to face the fact that this thing ain't going anywhere.
Yes, we shut down, but the shutdown did not stop the spread of the virus. I wish it had, but it's too late for that. The shutdown slowed the spread of the virus at enormous cost, but it still spread.
Yeah, and it hasn't gone anywhere. That's the other thing, is I've explained to people that, well, look at all the stuff that we've done and how we've stopped this thing. It's not gone anywhere. The virus is still here. So we're going to have to accept the fact that, yes, we're going to have to burn the boats at some point in time and accept the fact that there's going to be risk, because there's risk in everything. You start a business, there's risk. You get your car today, you drive somewhere, there's risk involved with that. There's risk in every single thing that we do. Is this risk a little bit more? Yeah. But I think the average person is willing to accept this risk, especially now what they're seeing in front of them is devastation to their economy, to the finances of them and their families. That at some point in time, this is the risk we're going to have to take, and maybe by doing this, we're going to get there quicker, because right now I just feel like we're prolonging the pain.
That at some point in the near future, there are going to have to be changes to occurring restrictions. They're just not sustainable long term. And when those changes come, no matter how careful they are in making them, there are going to be increases in infections. There are going to be increases in the number of deaths, tragically. And so the difficult task before public leaders now is, how do you balance this? How do you manage that risk? If the standard is 0 new infections, 0 new deaths, or no surges at all, that's unrealistic. But also unrealistic is the belief that we can just open everything up and go back to the way things were on March 1st.
Yeah. Somebody's going to have to make that choice. And no matter which, and by somebody, I mean your governor, Gretchen Whitmire, right? Inslee, Ducey, Newsom, Cuomo, Hutchinson, Abbott. All of them are going to have to make these choices. No matter what the president says, right? Rolling out, here's all our new stuff. At the end of the day, the governors are going to have to make certain choices for their people. And I think people will understand. I think a lot of people thought, well, we'll go inside for a couple weeks. We'll wear masks. They'll close down a few things. It'll be like a mini vacation, but things won't be so bad. And it turned bad much faster than I think a lot of people thought it was. I think if we were 6 weeks into this and we had 8 weeks in this and we had maybe 5 or 10 million people unemployed, People will be like, well, it's not so bad. We're 4 weeks into this thing. We have 22 million people employed. We have businesses struggling. We've already exhausted all the funds they've put in there for small business. They're having to tap into more of those things. I think people realize this thing escalated in a much quicker fashion. And the financial side of things looks more like New York for a lot of people. And I don't think they expected that. I think some people thought there would be damage. I don't think anybody thought it would be a total. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful Thursday. So excited. I'm off tomorrow. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't had a day off since I think it was, I came back before the new year and I haven't had a day off, and I'm looking forward to it because it's just been a lot of craziness and chaos. And at some point in time, you need to take a deep breath. And Jack and I, my little brother's going home today, and I'm just so excited that Jack and I have got a week or so, because I was talking to his mom, continue to talk to his mom. She's in California. I'm out here in Arizona. I said, what do you want to do with Jack? I said, I know you're missing him. She goes, I want to, want him to come home, but I can't. What's he going to do? He can't do anything. He's got all the stuff to do here. He can run around and do all kinds of stuff there. It's just limited. And my brothers are just devastated they're going home. Because they're like, oh, my God, we can't go outside. We can't do anything except play out back. And I'm like, yeah, it's the life. It's the life, man. Sorry, Arizona's just that way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Wounded Paw Project. So when Ernesto started Wounded Paw Project, originally it was focusing on the veterans, but he realized that the first responders have issues too. And looking at this and looking at the way things are going, they're being inundated looking for dogs to help out with our first responders who are struggling with PTSD. And what Wounded Paw Project does is it protects, advocates, and transforms shelter dogs into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family. And they need your help. And there's several ways you can give. You can give cash. You can donate a car. Or you can even sign up at smile.amazon.com and set your supporting group to Wounded Paw Project. When you do that, the money goes there, and they will use those proceeds to protect, advocate, and transform shelter dogs into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their family. You get a great tax-deductible gift. Find out more about how you can donate by going to woundedpawproject.org or calling 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729, or again, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Multiple sources are telling Fox News today that the United States government now has high confidence that while the coronavirus is a naturally occurring virus, it emanated from a virology lab in Wuhan. That because of lax safety protocols, an intern was infected, who later infected her boyfriend, and then went to the wet market in Wuhan, where it began to spread. Does that correspond with what you have heard from officials?
Well, I don't want to say that, but I will tell you more and more we're hearing the story. We are doing a very thorough examination of this horrible situation.
Yeah, Look, this is getting more and more play, and it's becoming more and more something where you look at it and you say, is that possible? It's not. Here's the thing. The Chinese want to, while they're becoming an economic force, when it comes to certain things, they're light years behind us. This wasn't so much a bioweapon. I think a lot of people thought it wasn't. This was more of uh-oh. I didn't see that coming. And that's the way they're explaining it. Not that, because you see a lot of those conspiracies that somehow this was released and they wanted this to happen. No. This seems more like Barney Fife got infected, went out, and the entire town of Mayberry got infected. And the next thing you know, Gomer Pyle's on his way somewhere, and boom, off it goes. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. What they were studying is that the coronavirus that is found in bats, 96% of it matches several other viruses in the corona world. So the virus inside of the bats, and that's what this is. Is that a real possibility? Absolutely, it's a real possibility. It is 100% a real possibility that it got out that direction. Now, I don't know it to be true. I think over the next several months and weeks, we'll find some stuff out. Doesn't mean we'll find everything out. Because as we know with China, they're not very forthcoming with a lot of these things. They're very, very much quiet. Hence the reason why nobody believes any of the stuff that they're saying. How many people are actually infected over there? We'll never know. How many people actually died over there? Again, we'll never know. How long it was there is also a very fair question to ask. Was it there really starting to be noticed, say, end of December? Or was this something that was around weeks and months before, but we didn't find out, the world, I mean, until early January? And 2 years ago, according to several different reports from intelligence agencies, not just ours, that this very lab in Wuhan that they've talked about, intelligence agencies have pointed out that it was very lax in the way that they handled everything, that there was virtually no security, that people would come and go, and it wasn't a big deal. So is it possible, yes, that something or somebody got infected and that thing got out? Absolutely, that's possible. And then all it takes, as we see, is one person who doesn't know, who's contagious, to affect several others, and then the spread begins from there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Big box retailer JCPenney missed a debt payment and is reportedly considering filing for bankruptcy. Clothes and accessory sales were down 50% in March. Deborah Weinswig, CEO and founder of Coresight Research, says when stores are okayed to open, some may not be able to.
20 to 30% of the stores, the anchors, will probably permanently close.
The retailers that do survive are considering changes, including social distancing and contact-free shopping, plexiglass at cash registers, and more online products and deals.
Yeah, not a shocker. I think a lot of us are really starting to understand as we dig into the data when it comes to the economy that it hit it harder and faster than I think a lot of people realized, and that for many people I talked to thought that somehow magically we would go back to normal the minute they gave us the all clear. Trump's throwing out his guidelines. Governors will ultimately make the final decision. But when it comes to the economy, there's a lot of factors that many people didn't factor in to the data. Not everybody is going to get their job back. Not every store that closes is going to reopen. What? And when it does happen, you may only be working part-time if you get your job back, because they're not going to need that much staff. Because so many people are affected by the downturn in the economy that the money's not going to be flowing freely. Plus, you're going to have the other side of it, the health side, which is people are going to be worried about, is this thing still out there? Yes, it's still out there. It's not going anywhere. Not at this moment in time. So they're going to be worried about going out. So you've got that aspect psychologically about going out. Do I want to go out? Do I not want to? I don't know what to do. Then you have the other aspect of, even though you may have the money and you're okay with going out, the worry is that they're going to they're going to close everything again. Instead of reopening, they're going to reopen and then we're going to have to close it again. And so people are going to say, I'm going to hold on to my money a little bit longer until I'm certain that they're not going to shut everything down. 22 million people in a month. There's no doubt we're going to get to 35 or 40 million. That'll put us right around 20%. 22, 23%. It's a big number. Not since not the Great Recession, the Depression, have we seen those kind of numbers. So there's a lot of things that are going on outside of the data that when you plug it all in and you look at it, especially the psychology aspect of so many people out there, when they do survey after survey, say, I don't feel comfortable going out unless I know there is a treatment or a vaccine. That's huge. Japan today declared a national state of emergency. Their prime minister, they're talking about a massive recession throughout the Middle East, and this has very little to do with the coronavirus, which is just now starting to get to certain places, has a lot to do with oil and the output and what's going on there. So this is a massive, massive global pandemic on the financial side as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You know, for all the crap that we get about how poor our healthcare system is, right? I'm here to tell you, every healthcare system has their good and bad in the modern world. Everyone does. They have their good, they have their bad. We have our good, we have our bad. A lot of people are underserved. It's expensive. There's a lot of needless cost. Then we have the good, which is when it comes to actual day-to-day of serving the public when it's necessary, we are so far ahead of the game. So as they break down the death rates, only Germany and Turkey have a better record than we do. We're about 4%, and that number is dropping. And by the end of this, we'll probably be around 2% of the known cases. So we'll be right around Germany and Turkey. That's amazing. Belgium, 13%. Italy, 13%. The UK, the vaunted UK, it's just look at them, 12.7%. France, 11%. Netherlands, 11%. Spain, 10.5%. So I think we need to pat ourselves on the back for what is always perceived by people like Bernie Sanders and a lot of people on the outside. Oh, it's the American system is broken and it's awful. It's more than held its own in a horrible situation, especially places like New York, New Jersey. It's amazing. And that doesn't ever get talked about. And if what is to be believed, what Fauci says, probably 25 to 50%, so double what we see, goes completely undetected. If that was true, then you're probably looking at a number closer to 1.5%. That's awesome. I mean, you'd love to have it lower. Who wouldn't, right? But end of the day, you got to give it up to our healthcare providers and the way that we've gone about fighting this thing. Even if you don't agree with the way that you've taken it on and everybody else is taking it on, that our people are doing a bang-up job despite the chaos, the craziness, the states battling over certain things. Yeah, it's been a bang-up job. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. With all of that being said, we still are on their bizarre rules across our country. Yesterday was one of those days where people in Michigan had finally said, you know what? We've had enough.
Total chaos. Green light. Everybody stopped up. There's semis. There's campers. At Michigan, the capital, it has been like this for a while. There's actual militia walking down the sidewalks, I think, is what I would call it. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Why? Because they've got stay in. Not even stay. Like, don't go anywhere. You can't travel anywhere. Don't go other places. I mean, they're locked and low. They want anybody to go. People have had enough. People have had enough.
We went out of our way to make this bipartisan. This is not a political issue. To us, we would have come out and had this same protest with a Republican governor or an independent governor. We just think that our civil liberties are being violated and decided that the only way that we could have our voices be heard was to engage in basic civil disobedience.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, at some point in time, you look around and you're saying, are we getting hammered on unnecessarily? Are you treating us like children? We're on restriction. We can't go anywhere. I've said it since day one when it comes to these shelter in place. Americans, because of our freedoms, because of the things that were guaranteed by our Constitution, even though too often we take it for granted, we have a point at which we say we've had enough. And you're starting to see that across the country, not just in Michigan, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit even more, but also across other parts. North Carolina, you're starting to hear rumbles in California that people are saying, all right, I've had enough. From not being able to work to watching the economy get flushed down the toilet to now being told where I can and can't go, what I might be fined or potentially arrested for. This is enough. Everybody has a breaking point, and I think more and more Americans are getting there, especially as they sit around and see bad news after bad news roll in. The economy's going to hell in a handbasket. They're sitting around. They feel like, hey, you know what? I got to get out and do something. They're starting to have their confidence inside. The psychology of it all is coming down on them. They're feeling awful, and now they're saying, we're going to push back. And you're going to see it more and more and more and more. And I think governors and leaders across the country, especially ones who want to shelter in place through May, are trying to figure out how do we go about doing that without setting off mass protests and potentially unrest. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. You're looking to save money? All of us are. Doesn't matter if we're in a pandemic or not. CarShield's a great thing. Affordable protection plans that can save you thousands in covered repairs, including things like the computers, GPS, electronics, as well as your transmission, your engine, and everything else. Plans start as low as $99 a month. That is awesome. You can customize your rates. There's no long-term contracts or commitments. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. Shop's the shop that you choose. So what you do is you call them up, 800-CAR-6000, use code Benson, save you 10% right there. You tell them exactly what you're looking for. I'm looking for this. My car's this year, it's 2 years old, but I don't have a warranty. And you go through all the things that you're looking that you want protected, and that's how they build your plan. It's simple. It's easy. Again, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com, and use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
It's called the All-In Challenge. Big-name stars offering big-time experiences for a small donation. Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro teaming up.
If you ever wondered what it was like to be able to work with the great Martin Scorsese, this is your chance.
We want to offer you a walk-on role. You'll spend the day on the set with the three of us, and, of course, you'll attend the premiere.
And for all the Justin Bieber fans out there,
I fly to the winner's home, and I sing them One Less Lonely Girl.
There are dozens of once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Most are raffle style. You can enter for $10. All the money goes to feed people affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, this is pretty cool because it's not like a bidding thing where, somebody who's got a ton of money can go, oh, cool, I'd always want to be in a movie. Now I get to be in a Scorsese movie, and I could just outbid everybody. It's a raffle. That's awesome. And Bieber, I don't know if I'd have him sing that. I don't know what I'd have him sing. I'd be like, look, dude, I want you to sing Baby. I want you to go way back in the day, and I want you to have wispy hair again. I want you to be non-tattooed. The baby face that you were. And come sing Baby. The Scorsese thing would be, I thought, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to win that. And then Scorsese's going to find out that I made fun of him and De Niro and a bunch of stuff about how he goes after movies. And, oh, God, that would be hilarious. Awkward. One of the cool things, though, if you like golf, and I like golf, they've got a raffle to play Pebble Beach with Bill Murray and Justin Timberlake. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy awesome. I'm like, I could do that. That would be, if you ask me so far the things that I have seen, that looks like the best of the things I have seen. I'm like, golf, me, Bill Murray, awesome. If you're a sports fan, so you've got all kinds, so it's $10. So the walk-on roll, and you can do, or you go all the way up for $100, and you get certain chances. So you get 10 for 10, 25 for 25, for 50 you get 100, for 200, for $100 you get 200 chances. Now, home opener, Tom Brady, that's an auction, $50,000. Be in Kevin Hart's next movie. Same thing. Be Ellen's next co-host. Also one of those things where you can do. I would like it. I think this would be cool. If they do, you get to be an NBA player for a game. That would be neat. Or get to bat in a major league game. I just think that would be one of those things where that's an experience right there. What else do they got here? Let's see here. Coin toss, New York Giants game. Travel the 49ers to any away game. You can be in Rhapsody's new upcoming rap video. Be Ryan Seacrest's next co-host. Robin Thicke will customize a ballad for you. That's pretty interesting. Dinner and acting with viral video guru King Bach. And you'd think, who's that? If you're a kid, trust me, you'd want that. You'd absolutely want, that'd be like one of those cool things. You can sit in the LAFC owner's box with Will Ferrell. That'd be neat because he'd be great. Be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That is awesome. This one's awesome, too. Opening bid, it's $50,000. You get to play softball and have Dodger Stadium to yourself for the day. What? Yeah. I'm looking at these. Which one? I'm going to do a few of these. I'm going to do design and call a play for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's pretty cool. If I was to do it, let's see. I'm going to do a few of these. Here's it. Mark Cuban will give you a one-day contract to play with the Mavs. That right there, that's a win. That's an absolute win. And they should let you make a basket so that way you will go down in the NBA as somebody who scored in an NBA game. And I want it to be a real game. I don't want it to be preseason. All right, I want it to be a real game. All right, how about this? I'm looking at this. golf at Daytona, right along with Denny and Bubba Watson's Richard Mille watch. $100,000 is the opening bid for that. That watch right there. Let's see what that thing's going for right now. Because if you were to get this, that watch alone is well over $100,000. So that's a win. That's a win. I'll take that. I'll take that every day. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. You can even get a championship ring. So I would do a few of these things. I'm gonna throw some out there because I want to help. And you know what? I'm gonna win one. Wouldn't it be hilarious if I got to go play just one day in the NBA? I can't shoot. I can't jump. I pretty much don't do anything. Right? If it's a soccer ball, we're all in. But outside of that, I can't do any of these other things. And I want a day's pay, too. So I want that, Mark Cuban. I want a day's pay. That's it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson shows your Twitter. See, there's some good coming out of it. There absolutely is. A day's pay in the NBA, and I want to hoop it up, too. I want to play, and I don't want to be in mop-up time. I want serious stuff. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In the last month, more than 22 million Americans have filed new claims for unemployment insurance as measures to contain the coronavirus kept businesses closed, consumers at home, and brought the economy to a near halt. Layoffs have spared no industry. They've hit hotels and restaurants, retailers and airlines and law firms. The 5.2 million new jobless claims represent the newly unemployed and those who have been trying to file but haven't been able to because state labor offices have been overwhelmed.
Yeah, overwhelmed to say the least. So 22 million in just over a month. We're about 14% unemployment. The reality is we're probably going to hit about 25% if we kind of stay here. There isn't any more flare-ups, and we look to get back into some sort of movement come May 1st. If it goes beyond May 1st, depending on if it's just a few states, or if it's still a nationwide thing where most states are in this shelter in place, you'll probably see it get up to 30+%. Retail got crushed last month.
More than 20 million Americans have likely lost their jobs in just 1 month, with many of the latest losses in retail, where sales of clothing and clothing accessories plunged more than 50% in March.
We had next to no sales, hadn't had any for weeks.
Lisa Lewick spent the last 13 years working as a sales associate at Macy's in Seattle. Her job, along with thousands of others, was furloughed last month.
And Macy's, JCPenney's, a lot of these other ones that are furloughing people, they're not going to be bringing them back. Even when they reopen, they're not going to open as many stores as they once had. There's going to be social distancing. How does that affect the day-to-day aspect of shopping, of dining? That's another aspect of this that doesn't get talked about. And not everybody's going to be coming back in the same capacity. You may have had 40 hours in a full-time job. You may get offered 25 hours because that's all they need you for. And this is 1 month. It is ugly, and it's probably going to get uglier. And the decision that's weighing on every governor, every leader, is when. When can we get back out there? And what's the right way to do it? That's a $1 trillion question. I think at some point in time, you're going to have to go all in. you're going to have to say, we're doing this. We're going for it. There is nothing. Once we start it, there's nothing we can do to stop it. We can't restart the economy over and over again. I don't know if everybody can take that. And I know business leaders are worried because I think what they want is when we go, we go. What they don't want is we turn you loose for 3 weeks. There's a flare up. We shut everything down again. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. What do you think? Do you think maybe we're going to have to make certain decisions, adult decisions, big boy, big girl decisions, where we know the risk, what it is, and that we might have to take that risk? Or are you good with sheltering in place for as long as that this thing needs to go?
A key concern, a potential second wave of infection. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the president had a conference call with executives on his recovery task force. They urged him to dramatically increase testing capabilities to get the economy going again. Many states taking their own action. Governor Cuomo and Maryland's Governor Hogan issuing executive orders requiring face masks.
Yeah. And business leaders are looking around saying, all right, how are we going to go and do this? What's going to be required of our employees? That's the other thing. If the sheltering in place orders are slowly but surely lifted, are you going to keep certain social distancings that will make it hard in certain businesses to actually do work? Some of the stuff we talked about is you may be wearing, if they open up a diner or a restaurant, let's say on average it's, you have 100 tables, but you're going to only have 40 or 50. Is it going to be palatable to go in there and get something to eat and then to see that the person's wearing gloves, which don't help unless you change your gloves out all the time or wash them? They're showing that, and a mask. It's a tough thing for a lot of people to go, hey, you want to go to this diner that I used to really love, but everybody's dressed up like they're hazmat employees? No. I don't think anybody wants that. But if we go on much longer, we're going to get into a situation where we're going to look up and say the coming back from this is going to take years and potentially a decade rather than months, maybe a year or so to get back to where we were. And we could face a collapse.
The American people are not morons. Very, very soon, the can's going to run out of road. We got to open this economy. If we don't, it's going to collapse. And if the U.S. economy collapses, the world economy collapses. And trying to burn down the village to save it is foolish. That's a cold, hard truth.
And people are asking the question more and more every day. I get it from people that are small business owners. Some of them have chose to take money from the government. Others have chose to see if they can ride this thing out. But one thing's for sure, all have said the same thing to me. They've got about another 30 days where they can ease in and opening their business. After that, there's a good chance that even if they open their business, they're not going to save it. And some of them may never open their business again. Los Angeles is dealing with all kinds of craziness. You've got Eric Garcetti, who's a boob. Sorry, just throwing it out there. He's the mayor, talking about large gatherings and concerts. They have a new stadium they were supposed to open this year. Not just any stadium. It was for the Rams and the Chargers. This stadium is better than Jerry's World. This stadium is like $4 billion. This stadium is one of those things where people will fly from around the globe just to look at this stadium. I have flown over it. It is the most amazing thing. It was going to be this just giant spectacle downtown that was going to be just incredible. But hold on a second.
Your office said this pandemic could stop large gatherings like concerts and sporting events until 2021. Is that in fact the case, Mayor?
As Mayor de Blasio said, as I think Mayor Cantrell has said in New Orleans, it's difficult to imagine us getting together in the thousands anytime soon. So I think we should be prepared for that this year.
Prepared for that in the thousands. That's eye-opening. You've got Governor Cuomo talking about, hey, we got to figure this out, but let's do it the right way, and let's take all the crap out of it.
If he ordered me to reopen in a way that would endanger the public health of the people of my state, I wouldn't do it. And we would have a constitutional challenge between the state and the federal government, and that would go into the courts, and that would be the worst possible thing he could do at this moment, would be to act dictatorial and to act in a partisan, divisive way. Keep the politics out of it.
And Trump has backed off from that. He's going to let the governors handle that. And he said the day before, look, I'm not going to force them to do anything. I think what he wants to give them is a guideline and look, these are the things if you're looking for based on what Fauci and Birx are saying to get you back out there. But you know your state best. You've got to do what's right for your state. And it's funny that they talked about the constitutional aspect because so much of what's going on across the country, and we're going to get into a little bit later, seems very unconstitutional in the way that they're ordering people to do things. And this has been chaos. And I was telling my son last night. Now my son's 9 and my little brother's like 15, and we're sitting there talking and we're going over everything, and I'm explaining to him that this thing that's happening. I'm 49. I've never seen this ever before in my life. Nobody that I've talked to has ever seen anything like this. Things that have happened that have been tragedies have been very regional. And even though it may have happened to us as a nation, the reality is 9/11 happened in New York and Pennsylvania and D.C. It was a gut punch, and it challenged who we were as a country. But this is global, and everybody's participating. Whether you are in the tip of Florida all the way up to past Seattle and everywhere in between, everybody is feeling this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. One thing you can do is take control of your finances. Maybe you've got some credit cards, high interest rates are driving you crazy. You got bills coming at you. You're paying way too much. How about this? Go over to my friends at Lightstream. Get a credit card consolidation loan. They have rates as low as 5.95% APR with auto pay and absolutely no fees. You can even get the money as early as the same day you apply. You can roll balances from multi-cards into one single monthly payment and start saving money. One of my listeners said, I heard about Lightstream through your show. I'm glad I had the courage to reach out and try their service. Top-notch customer support. Amazing service. Very streamlined process. No issues or regrets. I'm happy to recommend the service to anyone. That can be you. And if you apply today, you're going to get a special interest rate discount and save even more. The only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/Benson, lightstream.com/Benson, subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% APR auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? A lot of stuff is trending that is not coronavirus related, and a lot of stuff coronavirus related. Let's take a look, kids, in the world of magic that is. iPhone SE is trending big time. Why? Because apparently it's a shockingly good value, according to some. The new iPhone SE. What? Starting at $399. and a phone they say will last you years. U.S. Bank, why? Because their net income dropped 31%. WWE's trending because they're letting go of a lot of their superstars. Because? Anyone? Oh, yeah, things are ugly right now outside. Ugly outside. Head on over to the magical world of Twitter. Different stuff trending. Wear your pajamas to work day. Oddly enough, on my other show, next week, we're going to dress up every day. We're going to dress up. We're talking about it, and I'm like, you know what? We're going to have some fun. Because there's nobody here, and I keep threatening, I'm just going to wear like my fuzzy slippers and my bathrobe around all day. I'll go hours without seeing somebody. And when I do, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to wear my pajamas one day and just roll on in here in a fuzzy bathrobe and slippers and do nothing. So we said, you know what? Let's just do every day next week. We'll dress up, have some fun. And I think that's what you need to do. I saw somebody yesterday that we work with that we were doing a conference call, and he got all dressed up. He's like, I have to get dressed up. Just one day. He's got like suit and tie on, even though he's not going anywhere. It just feels good. Some of the other things, 22 million is trending because of the unemployment numbers. Yeah, if you didn't hear, another 5.2 million people filed for unemployment last week. Wear your pajamas to work day is trending. Day 21 of lockdown. The PGA Tour is trending because they've announced their schedule. Yes, somebody's looking forward and saying, let's come up with a schedule as a just in case we might reopen again and play golf. Now, golf could be one of those things where you could not have a crowd and you could play the sport, and I don't think it would be as big of a deal where not having a crowd for another sporting event would be really awkward. But starting June 8th, they're going to start the season at the Charles Schwab Challenge, the Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas. And then it breaks down all the way through till August. And then they're going to start the fall tournament. So it's a wraparound schedule. And they've rescheduled the Masters for November 9th through the 15th. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. They're going to try to get everything in, including the Masters. That would be awesome to see. Don't know if it's going to happen because you never know what's going to take place in this world of uncertainty with the coronavirus. Maybe, just maybe, they're able to squeeze some stuff in. But if I'm looking at if I'm the PGA Tour, I'm thinking to myself, we can social distance because it's golf. We don't have to have fans there. I think it would be a great situation where, because I'm watching these golfers, because I follow a lot of them on Twitter and Instagram, they're out golfing almost on a daily basis. So you're thinking to yourself, well, at some point in time, I don't see the problem with that. It's the sport where there's no contact. They're not hanging out with each other. Even when the game's at its height and it's going, it's not like they're hugging each other and high-fiving each other. If you have the right protection as far as, you test your caddy and the golfers get tested, I could see golf coming back quickly. And I'm surprised that they haven't come back because you can social distance with that. But they're going to kick it off in June. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Are you frustrated? What is your breaking point when it comes to this? How many more weeks and months can you handle this the way it is? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent thought, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The latest figures from the Labor Department bring the total number of Americans who have applied for unemployment benefits to 22 million in the last month alone. At that rate, economists expect the unemployment rate to reach 15% in April, meaning all of the job gains since the end of the recession in 2009 have now been wiped out by coronavirus.
And that will probably grow from there. The longer this goes, the worse it's going to be. We get that. Now, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? I think there is. I do. I think there is, but it's going to be very much a step-by-step process. Each person is going to have to make their own decision up, along with their governors, on how they want to approach this. I think for a lot of people, they're at the point now where they're starting to realize we have to get out there because it is far. I think people expected us to get to potentially 15% unemployment. I think they thought that would happen over a several month period. I didn't expect, as I've talked to economists, I didn't think they'd expect this over 30 days. I was speaking to one economist yesterday whose thought process was we would have a downturn in the economy and it would slowly kind of just eke along. And then you'd start to see a little bit more layoffs here and a little bit more layoffs there. And then come through August, we'd be at this point, not here within 30 days. People are chomping at the bit to get back to work. And it's tough. If you're a governor and you're a leader, you're doing all that you can to keep people safe. And you walk a much different line than, like Trump's trouble with the way that he comes out at some of this stuff is he comes across very cold and callous. Like, all he care about is the economy. And then people are like, oh, you should only care about people's health. Well, no, you have to care about both. Fauci gets to care about people's health. He understands the economy because that's what people ask him about. People don't ask, hey, can we get this thing finished because I want everybody to be. They want to know when they can get their life back to normal. They want to know when they can get back out there and start earning and working again. Some people really genuinely care, like, oh, my goodness. But a lot of people, it's about how can I get back to what I was before. But Fauci and Dr. Birx, their number one priority is the health and well-being of the United States people and making sure we get through this with as little death as possible. Trump has to care about that, but he also has to care about the economy. And when you try to balance the two, you're going to come out at times sounding cold and callous. And Trump does. I'm not going to lie. He does. Do I think he cares about people? Absolutely. But I also know that the economy being destroyed and it taking 2, 3, 4, 5 years or more to climb back out of this is going to do as much damage potentially as what this could have done. We still don't know what it looks like, but based on the numbers we're seeing now, based on where we're going, do I think we're going to get to that 200,000, 240,000 mark? I don't. We are approaching 32,000. Is it possible we get to 50,000 or 60? And, that is going to be over a period of time. That's not going to be tomorrow. That's not. That could be through August, and then what happens when we have a spike? Do we run back into our houses? People are pushing back. They're pushing back in a major way. Case in point, what's going on in Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer, who I still think is one of the favorites to be the vice presidential candidate for Joe Biden, Her profile's high. They think a lot of her. She has to me, the best qualifications because she's actually running a state. But you've got Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams all actively seeking out the position. But I look at her and I think she's young enough because you got to think about the future, especially with Joe. And she's also in a position where she's running something. People can disagree with the way she's running things. Got zero problems with that. She's come down on the shelter in place, is stay in place, and people have had enough. And they're starting to ask real questions about, hey, what are you doing to us?
We went out of our way to make this bipartisan. This is not a political issue. To us, we would have come out and had this same protest with a Republican governor or an independent governor. We just think that our civil liberties are being violated and decided that the only way that we could have our voices be heard was to engage in basic civil disobedience.
Yeah, and so they protested because people are asking serious questions about what the hell is going on in a lot of these states and a lot of these places where you guys seem to be overstepping the Constitution for what? Well, to protect everybody. So you're willing to take away some freedoms and step on the Constitution when you see fit?
We are witnessing the slow death of civil liberties in the name of public safety. So when a drone hovers over you, that is surveillance, and surveillance is a search. This is not me. This is the Supreme Court. And a search can't go on without a search warrant. Do we really want to live in a society where a piece of plastic and metal in the sky is going to start yelling at us because we're too close to our neighbors?
Yeah. And see how fast we got conditioned? The lady who does news on my local show, she's great. We were chatting yesterday because she said normally on the weekends, her and her husband, they go and they meet up with another couple and they go to breakfast. And they did the same thing, except they got it to take away. And she goes, I was afraid to ask them to come back to our house and even social distance in the backyard because I was afraid I was going to get in trouble. And I said, do you listen to yourself? We're grown-ass adults, and you're worried about your friends coming over to visit you. Is there a problem here? Yeah, there absolutely is. You're hearing about things where you can't go buy certain stuff, and you start looking at yourself and saying, my God, is this what it's becoming?
In Michigan, it's illegal to buy a garden hose. A garden hose, it's April. This is the time of year people buy garden hoses. So I think that some of the governors have the authority to regulate for health, safety, and welfare, have taken too much of that authority and have taken too much civil liberty away from us. The question is, will we get it back when this is over?
That's the question Judge Napolitano pointed out there. Will we get it back? I always point to the Patriot Act. I don't think we're going to get it back the way that people think, and they're going to be able to hold on to these powers for a long time. And eventually we'll get into a certain groove, and then we'll return to some normal way of life, and we'll forget all about that. And those things will just sit there. And that is scary. That is absolutely scary. Now, across the globe, there's all kinds of stuff going on.
If I step outside of this apartment, I'm looking at 6 months in jail.
Governments have been implementing lockdowns.
There's nobody out.
And asking citizens to self-isolate to fight the coronavirus pandemic.
I'm really trying to stay indoors as much as possible.
They've enforced these measures using drones and police to hunt out rogue pedestrians, and in some countries, even putting offenders in jail.
There is police everywhere, so the chances of getting stopped are very high.
Rogue pedestrians. Sounds like a great name for a band. Watch out for rogue pedestrians. Not rogue pedestrians. Yeah. How about this? This is here. This is here in America. A dad last week, we didn't have a chance to get to it, doing something crazy.
Apparently arresting a dad for throwing a ball to his daughter.
It was a former city council member who could not believe what he was recording.
In a park of about, 30, 40 acres. Apparently that is not allowed.
Matt Mooney is the 33-year-old dad who assured his daughter they were doing nothing wrong when police approached, told them they were violating the state's social distancing guideline.
Well, if you don't give us your information, we're going to put you in handcuffs in front of your 6-year-old daughter.
Wait, hold on a second. You're going to put me in handcuffs because I'm at a park with my daughter, who I'm not going to social distance with at home, and I'm at a park with my daughter.
She's like, Daddy, I don't want you to get arrested. And at this point, I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to arrest me. There's no way. This is insane. And, so I'm telling her, I'm like, don't worry, Daddy's not going to get arrested. I've done nothing wrong. Don't worry about it. And then they arrest me.
They arrest you. Yeah, they arrest you. And here's the funny thing.
The sign at Donaldson Park says closed, but in smaller print says in groups of no more than 4 persons, parks remain open for walking, hiking, biking, running, and similar activities. Matt was just there with his wife and 6-year-old. He says it was the officers who were violating social distancing guidelines.
During this whole contact, none of the officers had masks on. None of them had gloves on. They're in my face, handcuffing me. They're touching me.
Okay, so think about this. To no more than 4. So I had my wife, my daughter, myself, Matt's thinking. I don't know if Matt's a math genius. I'm okay at math, but I can count. That's 3. That's 3. That happened here. That's the scary thing. Charges were filed. They eventually released them. But the reality of them doing something like this is nuts. It is. People are frustrated and they're angry. And you know what? They want to get on with life, but they also don't want to be treated like children and locked away in their homes. I say it, I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say it, and I hear it from you guys. Everybody's got a breaking point. Everybody at some point in time is going to say, I've had enough.
We want to take our lives back. One thing that we've learned through this is that this is going to be the new normal. COVID-19 is going to be in our lives for at least the next year until there's a vaccine. And we need to figure out a way to get back to as normal of a life as possible while this plays out in the background. The solution is not to lock us into our homes.
No, it's not. That's for damn sure. Again, the virus doesn't go anywhere. And if we think it's going to be seasonal, it's definitely not going anywhere. So is your idea to lock people away? To restrict their movements? That sounds very scary. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. We got an actual poll question up right now. How much longer can you do the sheltering in place? 22% say as long as it takes. 22% says until June 1st. 25% says May 1st. And leading the way with just 29% is open it up now. And I think that will change. We're monitoring that. You can take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can also tweet at me and text the program. The text line, 323-538-CHAD, 323-538-2423. All right. Raycons, you're sheltering in place right now, but you're also doing it in your home, and you're still working, and your kids are there, and you're saying to yourself, self, I can hear everything with these crappy headphones I have. Yeah, let me change that for you. Raycons, half the price of all the other premium wireless earbuds out there. E25s are amazing, comfortable, stylish, cool. Just fits right in your ear. No stems, no wires. 6 hours of playtime. Seamless, I'm talking seamless Bluetooth pairing. And the nice noise isolating fit will allow you to make those calls, to chat with your coworkers, even binge watch some podcasts when you just want some you time without having to listen to the chaos potentially behind. On top of all of those amazing things, I'm going to save even more money. Starts well under $100 already. How about this? Save 15% more. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing
separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
If you're Major League Baseball trying to draw up this plan, you have to take the feelings and sentiments of players and keep them in mind and really understand that you're building something not just for the league to come back, but for the players to embrace it and for the fans to see it as well as a good for the country.
Yeah. And that good for the country would be great for the country. Something to look forward to. Even Trump joked about it that, hey, I'm sick and tired of watching 14-year-old baseball games on ESPN. How are we going to get to play ball again? Arizona or bust is what they're saying. One of the things they're talking about is they can keep them in a certain area. Fields are very close to each other. With all of that, though, people are wondering about, what about families? Could we bring families here? That seems to be a sticking point as well.
The biosphere plan is clearly and obviously the one that has the greatest chance of working with our current set of circumstances. But we also have to recognize that those circumstances can change. They just don't have enough information right now to convince them that this is the right thing to go all in on.
And all in on, you have to have a buy-in. And that buy-in has to come not only from the owners and Major League Baseball higher-ups, but the people that are actually playing.
I'm hearing the same thing from some players, Kenny. I'm also hearing completely opposite things from other players who say, I don't care, you can stick us in a flea bag motel. If we're playing baseball, then we're playing baseball, and that's what I want to do.
Jeff Passan, ESPN, and I think a lot of people feel that way. And we want them to come back and wanted to do it right. Me being in Arizona, my other show, my on-air partner, he didn't want him here. He doesn't. He feels like, oh, they're going to be bringing, how many people? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. When you add in family, members of the team, besides the staff and the whole 9 yards. But they're looking at the biosphere, as they talked about, kind of having an area specifically, almost like like the Olympics have, which is the athletes' area only. I don't know if it'll work, and that's not going to be forever. That may only be for a month or so, and then some teams we may I just couldn't not see the Yankees playing or the Mets playing in New York this year. As much as we want it, don't know if it'll happen. I think golf has got the best chance of returning because you can social distance, and not having fans there isn't going to kill the sport. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me and text the program. Here's something else. If you have the antibodies and you're immune, should you get a special pass to be able to go view sporting events or movies or whatever because you not going to be in a position to catch it? Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In the last month, more than 22 million Americans have filed new claims for unemployment insurance as measures to contain the coronavirus kept businesses closed, consumers at home, and brought the economy to a near halt. Layoffs have spared no industry. They've hit hotels and restaurants, retailers and airlines and law firms. The 5.2 million new jobless claims represent the newly unemployed and those who have been trying to file but haven't been able to because state labor offices have been overwhelmed.
It's just awful. It's just awful. It's not getting any better. It is ugly. It is nasty. And they've already run out of money for the small business loans. They'll replenish that, but they've run out of money. 22 million people in a month. 22 million people in 1 month. People are getting upset. They're getting angry. They're getting frustrated. And they feel like, hey, are we ever going to get this thing rolling again? And I say, look, every governor I've talked to, and I've talked to several in the last couple weeks, have all told me the same thing, whether they're Republican or Democrat. They want to get this up and running as fast as possible because they know there's people are looking at them, their constituents, their people, their state is looking up to them. They also realize the repercussions long term. No tax dollars coming in means lots of projects across the board are going to be scrapped. I talked to Governor Ducey the other day, Arizona, and he said, we were looking at massive amounts in our rainy day fund. That's pretty much been exhausted now. Things that we had planned out for years that we were going to do are now scrapped. So it's not just the average person who wants to get back there working and doing their thing. Even the government realizes this is going to affect them. Across the country, states and cities are having to make real decisions about letting go staff, cutting pay. No job is safe with this.
This is one of those situations in life that shows us really what to be thankful for and gives us some perspective, right? And it's simpler than we tend to make it. What do I want? I want to be able to go fishing and throw my cell phone in the ocean and not worry about it. I want to be able to sit around the table with mom and laugh and your kids and my kids and be able to hug them without worrying about social distancing. I would never want to hear about social distancing again.
Governor Cuomo, I don't know why you're throwing your phone in the ocean. That seems a little weird and like you're littering, but whatever. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to get away from this. Everybody wants us to go back to normal, whatever normal looks like. And I couldn't tell you at this moment in time what normal is going to look like because every state's going to have a different version of normal.
I don't want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and the first thing I have to go through is understanding how many deaths we had the night before. I don't want to talk to any more families who lost family members. I want the pain to stop. I want the fear to stop. I want the anxiety to stop. I want those hospital workers to be able to go home and sleep a full night. Just let's get back to normal. Let's get back to family. Let's get back to all those simple things that we took for granted. And when we get them back, maybe we'll cherish them more than we ever have.
Yeah. Maybe we will. And I think we need to start looking at that. Just the little things, getting ourselves back to some normal way of life. But it's going to be different for every single one of us. Because in certain states, your normal is going to take a while to get back to. In other states, it's probably going to come back a little bit quicker. But I think we realize, and I know for me, just looking around and seeing how weird it is to not have human interaction and contact the way we used to. A high five here, a handshake there, a little dap, arm around the shoulders, a hug. That's weird. Even though you didn't think much of it at the time, looking back, you're like, oh my God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Money's coming in, the stimulus. We could joke about Trump's name being on there, all of that stuff. Ha, 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 ha. Is it enough to help people? Can you keep yourself going? Mnuchin came out today and he's like, oh, yeah, the stuff that we've done should keep people, up and running for the next 10 weeks. And everybody's like, are you kidding? $1,200? Well, no, I think he's talking about the unemployment, the small business loans that can keep some people going. Not everybody. Depends on where you live. Some people, though, thought, hey, this coronavirus has made my day.
This man is a volunteer firefighter here, and unbeknownst to him, he did get this first federal stimulus payment over the weekend, but it wasn't quite what he was expecting.
I went to the ATM at the Family Express, and once I withdraw $200 out of my account, I looked at the available balance that was still left in my account, and apparently my account had $8.2 million in it. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
What in the world? Hey, how about that? Little $8.2 million.
He was supposed to receive $1,700.
I ran the card again and again. $8.2 million. I was like, man, something's up.
Calvin called his bank. They didn't see that amount in his checking account anymore, but did note that his $1,700 stimulus payment was deposited.
Kind of sucks. You go from being a millionaire on paper 1 second, and then you're back to being broke again, Hey, but I guess, once you're poor, you ain't got nowhere else to go up.
There you go. What you should have done, though, is make sure that you keep that, right? You keep that receipt. It's motivation to get there again. 8.2 million? My goodness. And if you're struggling and you're at home, the one thing that we have that we've never had before is opportunities to interact not only with people in a way that we've never had before, but also electronics.
Alexa, how long will the coronavirus last?
The virus itself may last only 2 more weeks or so, but the faction known as the Democrat Party will continue to make it last psychologically for at least 6 more months. Their motivation is to thoroughly ruin the economy and blame our great President Trump for it. They are trying to stop his inevitable re-election by any surreptitious means possible.
Come on, that's funny.
It is well known that people who do not suffer from TDS are too smart for this hoax and will not allow it to go beyond 4 more weeks. The lazy Americans with TDS will continue to milk the government for more money and time off from work, confusing it with being their sugar daddy. We can agree that not longer than 4 to 6 weeks and America will be back online.
A little bit funny, right? It's, what's funny is I'll get people that'll tell me, oh, you're just one of those Trumpers. No, that was funny, right? Yesterday, I tweeted out something about what if Donald Trump was the captain of the Titanic. And a bunch of people shot back at me, oh, you're never Trumper, you're horrible, I'm never going to listen to you again. I'm like, that's fine. You guys can't take a joke. That's a problem. If Donald Trump had captained the Titanic, there would be no iceberg. We won't hit an iceberg. I knew it was an iceberg before anyone else knew. No one else knew the iceberg better than I do. The Penguins brought the iceberg here. No one could have ever predicted the iceberg. We cannot allow an iceberg to stop our ship. The crew is spreading fake news about icebergs. Some of you have to drown. I'm the best captain. Ask anyone. And I get it for that side. Oh, my goodness. You can't win. Can't lose. You just kind of muddle along. Because when you insult one side, the other side attacks you, right? The other side cheers you on, and that side attacks you. Then you insult the other side, and the same side that's cheering you attacks you, and the ones that were attacking you now cheer you. That's when you know you're doing something right. If you can piss both sides off, because that Alexa thing, what that said, there are people that believe that in the Democratic side, that look at this as a great opportunity. And on the other side, there are people that, if they're honest with themselves, know that if Trump was the captain and he was the way he is now, he would have said the same damn thing on the Titanic. Nobody knows the iceberg better than me. I'm the greatest captain in the world. Just ask anybody. Truth. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens, giving you the opportunity right now to sign up for free. What do they give you? Well, first of all, they're out there fighting on your behalf for common sense immigration reform, which is great. Social Security, Medicare, making sure it's solvent, as well as giving you benefits too numerous to mention. So when we're up and running again in this crazy world, you'll be able to take advantage of them. And the price is right to join AMAC because it's free. Doesn't cost you a penny. You go to amac.us/Chad. You sign up. It's that simple. There's no cost. There's no tricks. There's no credit card required. No cash. Nothing like that. You sign up. It's a 1-year free membership. They get out there, lobby on your behalf for all kinds of things. And on top of all of that, give you tons of benefits. Sign up today. 1 year. It's free. It's on me. amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman calls the economic shutdown insanity. Goodman identifies as an independent and says it's time for the governor of Nevada to lift stay-at-home orders.
For heaven's sakes, for being closed is killing us already and killing Las Vegas, our industry.
But Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak says stay-at-home orders won't be lifted right now because lifting them too soon, he says, could mean more people would get sick and die.
That's what's going to be happening over the next several weeks. When and how. Vegas is crushed, and there certain parts of the country will have an economic boom compared to other parts, and it's still going to be a slow go for them. But Vegas, it's going to take them years, 5 years, to get back to where they were. This is costing them. And when we talk about the economic just crash here, think about how many companies are going to try to make a comeback once this opens up? And within a few months, they're going to file bankruptcy. A ton. JCPenney's is close to filing bankruptcy again. Macy's is closing a bunch of stores. A lot of places that have closed down temporarily, that will become permanent. The one thing is, if you look around, how can you actually come out ahead in this? Is this the perfect time to start a business? Well, how's that? Because there's opportunity here. Where are the opportunities? How can you find opportunities in this marketplace? There will be needs that need to be met when this opens up. How do you become a part of that? Some things, it's going to take a long time to come back. And as we start to get more and more earnings, I think you'll see more and more pressure on the stock market, which means retirements are going to take a hit. The housing market is starting to not just stumble, it's starting to really, really hit it. And I think if we go through May with the majority of the country shut down, come June, July, and August, you're going to see serious. It's going to make 2008 look like nothing. So there's a lot that's going into this, but how can you, like everybody else, figure out, well, what can I do? There's stuff that people can do. Opportunities to go out and figure out, okay, how can I fix the needs? Where are the needs? How can I be a part of that? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. The antibody test is very interesting, and I can't wait. I think I'm taking mine next week. I'm pretty sure I've had it. So we'll see what it looks like. But I'm going to take mine next week, and they're approving more and more of these things. And still the immunity question is, how long will you be immune from this? Because everybody's pretty sure that you're going to be immune. Is it going to be a year? Is it going to be several years? Is it going to be for good? I don't know, but I want to take the test.
Lab manager Tyler had a high fever back in February, but was it the coronavirus? He told our Diane Sawyer he tested positive for COVID antibodies.
What kind of relief did you feel when you heard this?
It's kind of like a little bit of a weight got lifted, just because there are so many people that are getting affected by this that it's just nice to know that I somehow got through it without too much issue.
But Tyler still waiting to find out if he is now immune to the virus, one of the keys to restarting the country.
And I think that you can expect that you're going to have some immunity to the virus. It's just, how long is that going to last? Is that going to last, again, a year? Does it last several years? Is it last a lifetime? When I talked to one of the governors the other day, Governor Doug Ducey, he said, if you've tested for it and you've got the antibodies, it's almost like having a master class where you've got something that somebody else, you don't have to worry. You don't have to be overly crazy precautious. You can do some other things and not have that kind of fear factor of, what happens if? But it still goes back to how long will you be immune to it? And I think for most people, if you figure you could be immune to it for at least a year or so until they get a treatment in place or until they get a vaccine, I think people will take that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet us. We're going to talk to somebody a little bit later. It's going to be very interesting. They're going to donate on the Chad Show behalf 1,000 masks to an organization and nonprofit of my choice. And it's interesting to talk about masks and how you can reuse them, how you can make them homemade masks. And this will be fun. We're going to talk to them here coming up in a little bit. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Big box retailer JCPenney missed a debt payment and is reportedly considering filing for bankruptcy. Clothes and accessory sales were down 50% in March. Deborah Weinswig, CEO and founder of CoreSight Research, says when stores are okayed to open, some may not be able to.
20 to 30% of the stores, the anchors will probably permanently close.
The retailers that do survive are considering changes, including social distancing and contact-free shopping, plexiglass at cash registers, and more online products and deals.
Yeah, not a shocker. I think a lot of us are really starting to understand as we dig into the data when it comes to the economy that it hit it harder and faster than I think a lot of people realized, and that for many people I talked to thought that somehow magically we would go back to normal the minute they gave us the all clear. Trump's throwing out his guidelines. Governors will ultimately make the final decision. But when it comes to the economy, there's a lot of factors that many people didn't factor in to the data. Not everybody is going to get their job back. Not every store that closes is going to reopen. What? And when it does happen, you may only be working part-time if you get your job back because they're not going to need that much staff because so many people are affected by the downturn in the economy that the money's not going to be flowing freely. Plus, you're going to have the other side of it, the health side, which is people are going to be worried about, is this thing still out there? Yes, it's still out there. It's not going anywhere. Not at this moment in time. So they're going to be worried about going out. So you've got that aspect that psychologically about going out. Do I want to go out? Do I not want to? I don't know what to do. Then you have the other aspect of, even though you may have the money and you're okay with going out, the worry is that they're going to they're going to close everything again. Instead of reopening, they're going to reopen and they're going to have to close it again. And so people are going to say, I'm going to hold on to my money a little bit longer until I'm certain that they're not going to shut everything down. 22 million people in a month There's no doubt we're going to get to 35 or 40 million. That'll put us right around 20%. 22, 23%. It's a big number. Not since not the Great Recession, the Depression, have we seen those kind of numbers. So there's a lot of things that are going on outside of the data that when you plug it all in and you look at it, especially the psychology aspect of so many people out there, when they do survey after survey, say, I don't feel comfortable going out unless I know there is a treatment or a vaccine. That's huge. Japan today declared a national state of emergency. Their prime minister, they're talking about a massive recession throughout the Middle East, and this has very little to do with the coronavirus, which is just now starting to get to certain places, has a lot to do with oil and the output and what's going on there. So this is a massive, massive global pandemic on the financial side as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. You know, for all the crap that we get about how poor our healthcare system is, right? I'm here to tell you every healthcare system has their good and bad in the modern world. Everyone does. They have their good, they have their bad. We have our good, we have our bad. A lot of people are underserved. It's expensive. There's a lot of needless cost. Then we have the good, which is when it comes to actual day-to-day of serving the public when it's necessary, we are so far ahead of the game. So as they break down the death rates, only Germany and Turkey have a better record than we do. We're about 4%, and that number is dropping. And by the end of this, we'll probably be around 2% of the known cases. So we'll be right around Germany and Turkey. That's amazing. Belgium, 13%. Italy, 13%. The UK, the vaunted UK, it's just look at them, 12.7%. France, 11%. Netherlands, 11%. Spain, 10.5%. So I think we need to pat ourselves on the back for what is always perceived by people like Bernie Sanders and a lot of people on the outside. Oh, it's the American system is broken and it's awful. It's more than held its own in a horrible situation, especially places like New York, New Jersey. It's amazing. And that doesn't ever get talked about. And if what is to be believed, what Fauci says, probably 25 to 50%, so double what we see, goes completely undetected. If that was true, then you're probably looking at a number closer to 1.5%. That's awesome. I mean, you'd love to have it lower. Who wouldn't, right? But end of the day, you got to give it up to our healthcare providers and the way that we've gone about fighting this thing. Even if you don't agree with the way that you've taken it on and everybody else is taking it on, that our people are doing a bang-up job despite the chaos, the craziness, the states battling over certain things. Yeah, it's been a bang-up job. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. With all of that being said, we still are on their bizarre rules across our country. Yesterday was one of those days where people in Michigan had finally said, you know what? We've had enough.
Total chaos. Green light. Everybody stopped up. There's semis. There's campers. At Michigan Capitol, it has been like this for a while. There's actual militia walking down the sidewalks, I think, is what I would call it. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Why? Because they've got stay in. Not even stay. Like, don't go anywhere. You can't travel anywhere. Don't go other places. I mean, they're locked and low. They want anybody to go. People have had enough. People have had enough.
We went out of our way to make this bipartisan. This is not a political issue. To us, we would have come out and had this same protest with a Republican governor or an independent governor. We just think that our civil liberties are being violated and decided that the only way that we could have our voices be heard was to engage in basic civil disobedience.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, at some point in time, you look around and you're saying, are we getting hammered on unnecessarily? Are you treating us like children? We're on restriction. We can't go anywhere. I've said it since day one when it comes to these shelter in place. Americans, because of our freedoms, because of the things that were guaranteed by our Constitution, even though too often we take it for granted, we have a point at which we say we've had enough. And you're starting to see that across the country, not just in Michigan, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit even more, but also across other parts. North Carolina, you're starting to hear rumbles in California that people are saying, all right, I've had enough. From not being able to work to watching the economy get flushed down the toilet to now being told where I can and can't go, what I might be fined or potentially arrested for. This is enough. Everybody has a breaking point, and I think more and more Americans are getting there, especially as they sit around and see bad news after bad news roll in. The economy's going to hell in a handbasket. They're sitting around. They feel like, hey, you know what? I got to get out and do something. They're starting to have their confidence inside. The psychology of it all is coming down on them. They're feeling awful, and now they're saying, we're going to push back. And you're going to see it more and more and more and more. And I think governors and leaders across the country, especially ones who want to shelter in place through May, are trying to figure out how do we go about doing that without setting off mass protests and potentially unrest. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. You could tweet at us. You're looking to save money? All of us are. Doesn't matter if we're in a pandemic or not. CarShield's a great thing. Affordable protection plans that can save you thousands in covered repairs, including things like the computers, GPS, electronics, as well as your transmission, your engine, and everything else. Plans start as low as $99 a month. That is awesome. You can customize your rates. There's no long-term contracts or commitments. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. Shop's the shop that you choose. So what you do is you call them up, 800-CAR-6000, use code Benson, save you 10% right there. You tell them exactly what you're looking for. I'm looking for this. My car's this year, it's 2 years old, but I don't have a warranty. And you go through all the things that you're looking that you want protected, and that's how they build your plan. It's simple. It's easy. Again, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com, and use that code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Well, face masks, social distancing, these are becoming the norms, and for the foreseeable future, they're going to be the norms around the country. Joining me today, Director of Communications at Boomer Naturals, Suzanne Hobbs. And you guys, wellness company, provide all kinds of products and services, as well as things that you guys are going to do for us today, which is donating 1,000 masks to a needy and organization, and we appreciate that so much. Masks, let's talk about face masks, Suzanne, because they're not all the same, and we need them.
You bet, yeah. Everybody has been now asked that if you go out in public that you wear a face mask. Anyone has got to do it. And that's going to be the norm. The world has changed, and they're going to be common. But what's so important and what we want to encourage people here at Boomer Naturals is to have the right face mask, or to have something that is as effective as can possibly be. You know, most masks that people are making from home, hey, it's great. They work, but they're about 70% effective in blocking particles. And we are not allowed to get those masks. We're not supposed to be wearing those N95s, unless you're medical and so why not have something that's as close to medical as possible? And there are masks available that you can get that protect at 92.2%. And that's what
Which
you
is
want to
awesome.
have, is a mask that truly works. Yeah.
Because most people have no idea. They're at home, they're making their mask. And to be honest, and I think you know this, there's so much information flying around, Suzanne, that we don't know. Why do we wear a mask? Should we wear a mask? What's it for? What's it not for? Can I catch something? And people just have no idea.
Right. Yeah. And what happens is that when someone coughs or sneezes or even talks, if you're in close proximity, those particles can get to you, and then that's how they are finding out that most people are getting COVID. So for adults and kids, you need to be wearing a mask, and a mask that actually fits you, right? So there are masks that are available for children, masks that are available for adults. And what you want to do is also, let's follow the success. So what we did at Boomer is we actually went to our contacts, some of our founders and of our company are Vietnamese, and they looked at the success that's happening in Vietnam. They have 96 million people in Vietnam, 267 known cases, and 0 deaths out of 96 million people. Very impressive.
That's pretty good.
One of the things that they're doing there in Vietnam is that they are wearing these masks that are made in their country. So we were able to source from people to get these masks here in the United States. So Americans can be using these masks as well that are 92.2% effective. And that's what everybody should be wearing.
Yeah, talking to Suzanne Hobbs, Director of Communications for Boomer Naturals. And you talk about the 92.2%. Most people, if you're making masks or you're buying them online, it's about, 70%, give or take?
70%. Yes, absolutely. And you want something that has been treated to be antiviral, antibacterial. A cloth made from fabric at home has not been treated with the antiviral, antibacterial protection, and there's no studies to show that works more than about the 70% blocking of particles. And you also want to know how to take care of these masks, right? That's important. Whatever you have, you need to know how to wash them or care for them. And these masks that we're able to source from Vietnam last for 30 days, 30 uses. You just hand wash them, and you want to wash them just, with some room temperature water and some soap, and you can reuse these masks, so there's going to be less waste. So it's really important that everybody start understanding the future for the while now. It's going to be wearing a mask when you're out in public, and it's important that we protect ourselves 100%.
So 30 days, I can wash them and reuse them. That's to me, because again, I've got an old N95 mask that I found. We had a couple of them in our garage for whatever reason. I don't even know we were doing something, and they look beat up. And I think, man, if I wash this thing one time, it's going to fall apart.
Right, and it's not as comfortable. These masks that we have cotton inside, and these are very comfortable. Very comfortable, very breathable, and you want something that you can feel like you can wear while you're at the store or out in public. And so, even for children, the masks that we have fit children's faces. So we have 2 different sizes. But, it's really important to think it's not just about protecting you. You're sure hoping that the person near you at that grocery store is wearing a face mask that is also going to be as protective, so you're safer. So let's all wear the right face masks and be as safe as we can be, but also have something that's breathable and comfortable and also very affordable.
Boomer Natural 30 Days Face Mask. You go to boomernaturals.com to check them out. And for coming on today, you are going to donate 1,000 of those to a worthy organization out here, and I appreciate that so much. Tell everybody again, if they want to check this out, where to go, and that way they can check it out for themselves, for their organizations, or even for their own use.
Absolutely. Go to boomernaturals.com. We can ship things out starting today. We have a huge supply. We are ready to ship them out of the United States to you and to your home and to your family. And we just want to help everybody be healthy and happy and get through this right now. And also take a look at we also have hand sanitizers too. So if you need hand sanitizer, we've got some.
Absolutely fantastic. Suzanne Hobbs, Director of Communications, Boomer Naturals. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you coming on and donating today. You have no idea how amazing that is. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. We're going to give it to St. Mary's Food Bank out here in Phoenix. They are serving, we were talking to them the other day, they on average were serving about 200 meals or so a day, give or take. They're now doing up to 2,000 meals a day. And so we're going to make sure that they're taken care of and that their people are taken care of as well. And appreciate Suzanne Hobbs for coming on and talking about that. Again, if you need a face mask, BoomerNaturals.com. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. I'm taking tomorrow off, much needed. Jack and I are going to have some fun. We're going to play some PlayStation, and I'm going to take a nap. Be safe, be kind. Let's do it again on Monday, as always. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.